So the NHL draft lottery was last night, and of course I missed it because I was at Maple Leaf Square for the Leafs game, where I was there for the first period, and then we decided to leave, and then they won. So clearly we were the problem. But the draft lottery happened last night, and the Winnipeg Jets, as expected, stayed at 14th place, so they will be picking 14th overall in the 2022 NHL draft, which is very good, especially for a deep draft that is this year's draft. And I'm looking forward to it quite a bit, but we're not necessarily going to be talking about who they might pick, although we'll talk about a few names. One conversation that needs to happen about the 14th overall pick is, do the Jets keep the pick and use that pick on a player, or do they use that pick to trade for an asset that will help them now? And it's something that needs to be discussed because it's something that really depends on the direction of this team going forward. So we're going to talk about that and a little bit more in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. But before we get started with that, however, I would like to remind you guys to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new around here. Leaving likes on these videos really helps them perform better in the YouTube algorithm, helps these videos get promoted, and helps this channel grow in general. So if you want to see this channel grow, then again, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss another video. So 14th overall is obviously what was expected, and that's what ended up happening for the Winnipeg Jets. And I'm not mad about it or anything like that, because you're more mad about how the season ended up. But having the 14th overall pick is very, very interesting for the team, because you can go one of two ways, I should say, with this pick, and that's, do you trade it or do you keep it to pick a player? So I've got a list of 5 prospects that I want to briefly talk about that could be available at the 14th overall pick, and they're ranked based off of Elite Prospects consolidated rankings. So they just took a bunch of different rankings and then just found the average of those rankings in terms of where this player could go. So we're going off of that. But we've got 5 players, like I said before, that I want to talk about just briefly, and then we'll talk about what we could do with this pick going forward, or what the Jets should do. I'm not working for the team at all. I'm not. And I think we should start talking about these prospects by talking about the one that I would think Winnipeg Jets fans would really like to see from the team, although I don't know if it will happen, but it is Connor Geekie, who is ranked 12th in consolidated rankings. And the reason why certain Jets fans, or most Jets fans, would like to have him on the team is because he already is playing for a Winnipeg hockey team. He's playing for the Winnipeg Ice in the WHL, and so it's not too far of a distance for him to get to the Winnipeg Jets arena. In fact, I think they play in the same arena. I could be wrong about that. But he's a big power forward centerman, which is something that the Jets may need at some point down the line. I know they already have Pierre-Luc Dubois, who does play like a power forward and is big and uses his body and his size to battle for pucks and do all those sorts of great things that a power forward does. And Connor Geekie can really provide that as well, which may be, again, something that the Jets may look at and find interesting. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, and he's ranked number 12 in the consolidated rankings. Just looking at a few of the big name kind of rankings, he's ranked number 15 by Elite Prospects, number 10 on Bob McKenzie's prospect list, number 31 on Craig Button's list, but I think that's changed because I think he came out with his updated rankings the other night. So he's definitely thought of as a first rounder, and he's definitely thought of going around the 10 to 15 range in terms of when he could get picked, probably in 10, 11, 12. And if the Jets see a lot of upside with this guy and really want to grab him at the 14th overall pick, maybe they just trade up to the 12th overall pick or the 11th overall pick to just guarantee themselves Connor Geekie. But I'm not totally sure if he's exactly what the team needs, and also I don't think he would be in the NHL for a year or two, which could be something that we'll be talking about with these prospects that we're talking about here. But Geekie, big centerman, definitely uses his body. In terms of his totals this year, he put up 24 goals, 46 assists for 70 points in 63 games with the Winnipeg Ice this year. And in the playoffs, in 8 games, he's put up 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. And now let's talk about a defenseman, and that defenseman is Pavel Mintyukov. Mintyukov? I maybe got that right. Who knows? He's a 6'1" Russian defenseman playing in the OHL. He's playing for the Saginaw Spirit, and he has a pretty good stat line for a team, or for playing on a team, I should say, that wasn't necessarily the best. In case you don't know, Saginaw Spirit finished very low in the OHL and actually picked first overall. They picked up Michael Misa, who was granted exceptional status into the OHL. So a very bright future for this team, and it could really help make Pavel here, I'm not even going to say his last name, it could really make him look much better than he did this season, which he already looked very good. He's currently ranked 16th amongst consolidated rankings, ranked number 7 by Elite Prospects, number 16 by Bob McKenzie, 13 by McKeans, number 10 by Craig Button, and he's the number 6 ranked skater in North America by NHL Central Scouting. And in terms of his stat line, he put up 17 goals and 45 assists for 62 points in 67 games, again with the Saginaw Spirit, so his plus minus and stuff won't be the greatest, but let's be honest, why would we really care about plus minus right now? But almost a point per game defenseman on a bad team in the OHL, that's pretty good to see from a Russian defenseman. And he's also played in the MHL in the past for Dynamo Moscow, and he put up 3 points in 33 games, but that was in 2019-20, so that was 2 years ago. And he's a left shot defenseman, which immediately drops his value a little bit. This could be a guy where if the Jets don't move, I think they might end up taking Pavel here, just because what's better than more defensive depth, I would say. But again, this is a guy that probably would take 2 years, maybe 3 years to get into the NHL and become an NHL regular, maybe a little bit longer than that. And now we'll talk about Cutter Gauthier, incredible name, playing for Boston College, so he's already committed to Boston College in this upcoming season, so he wouldn't be ready out of the gates, but he is a center slash winger. He's 6'3", 194 pounds, so he will definitely fill out into that frame. He was actually born in Skellefteå, Sweden, so Swedish and American. Interesting. And he's actually ranked number 14 amongst consolidated rankings, and number 14 by Elite Prospects, number 13 by Bob McKenzie, number 20 by McKeans, number 7 by Craig Button, and is the 3rd ranked player in NHL Central Scouting in North America. So this guy, it seems like no one has really updated their rankings as of yet, but it seems like Cutter Gauthier is a guy that may actually end up going higher in the draft, but just because he's around the consolidated ranking area of where the Jets are picking, I want to talk about him. This could be a guy that could really develop really well in Boston College, or at Boston College, this season. He may be a guy where once the season's over, the Jets could sign him and then he could play in the NHL. So maybe he's a bit more NHL ready, or closer to NHL ready, and the other 2 players that we talked about, or any of the other players that we're going to talk about. And this year, he's been playing for the U18 US team, and in 54 games, he's put up 34 goals, 31 assists for 65 points, and then also played in the USHL this year, and he put up 19 goals and 9 assists for 28 points in 22 games. This guy's a goal scorer, and depending on how you feel about the Jets' goal scoring, maybe they need that, maybe they don't, but he's a very interesting guy to look at, because in my opinion, this seems like a guy that may be more NHL ready than anyone else, but because of that, he may end up going higher in the draft, and most likely might not be around for when the Jets end up picking 14th. However, if he is, I think the Jets should be taking Cutter Gauthier. That's just my personal opinion. Jonathan Lekkerimäki? Don't know if I got that right. He is a Swedish winger playing for Djurgården, whatever that team is. It's the same team that William Eklund, Alexander Holtz, those types of guys played for in the SHL. Looks like they got demoted to the Hockeyallsvenskan League, which is the second tier league in Sweden. He's ranked number 11 in consolidated rankings, number 18 by Elite Prospects, number 12 by Bob McKenzie, number 21 by McKeans, number 9 by Craig Button and is the number 6 ranked player amongst European skaters by NHL Central Scouting. This guy is another goal scorer, so a lot of goal scorers in this draft. This past season, playing for Djurgården in both the under 20 league as well as the SHL, so he split his time between the two leagues. He put up 35 points, 20 of them being goals in the under 20 Swedish league, and then in the SHL put up 7 goals, 2 assists for 9 points in 26 games. And those numbers might not jump out at you, but for a 17-year-old, I believe, playing in the SHL and being able to put up 7 goals and 9 points in 26 games in the SHL, that's very impressive. He's a bit of a smaller player, 5'11", 172 pounds, but if the Jets are really valuing goal scoring, this is a guy that if they wanted to trade up, they could totally do that. Or if he falls down to them, maybe they end up taking him as well. It seems like he is committed to play in Sweden this upcoming season, though. So, again, another guy that won't be NHL ready. None of these players are going to be NHL ready, let's be totally honest. But like Cutter Gauthier, may be available sooner than some of the other guys that we're talking about on this list. And the last player that I want to talk about, and this might be a bit of a stretch because I think he's going to fall in draft rankings just because of his diagnosis with, I think it's Hodgkin's lymphoma. Could be totally wrong, and if I am, I apologize. But it's Ivan Miroshnichenko, or however you pronounce it. He's a left winger out of Russia, 6'1", 185 pounds, and he's the number 13th ranked player amongst consolidated rankings, number 30 by Elite Prospects, number 6 by Bob McKenzie, number 10 by McKean's, number 15 by Craig Button, and the number 11 ranked skater in Europe by NHL Central Scouting. And although I think there is talent there to be a very good goal scorer in the NHL, first off, I think he will take a while to get there. A, because he's already playing in Russia, so they may want to keep him in Russia for a long time or something like that, as well as his diagnosis that will keep him out of play for quite a long time. So it would be a nice story for Ivan to get picked pretty high. I don't think the chances are really that high that he'll get picked in, I would say, the top 20. I think he'll drop quite a bit, which is unfortunate, but that's just the name of the game sometimes with the draft. And he's ranked around where the Jets are picking, so that's why I'm talking about him. And I do think there's some upside there, but it will take him a lot longer than the rest of these prospects to get back to playing level and then also being able to get into the NHL. He played in the VHL, which is the third tier league in Russia this year. Put up 10 goals, 6 assists for 16 points in 31 games, and played 1 game in the MHL, no points in that 1 game. But you see the trend that I'm talking about here with all of these players. Every single one of them is not, at least I think, is not NHL ready. And majority of them are more than a year out from NHL play. A couple of them, Cutter Gauthier and Likermaki, I believe could be ready for not this upcoming season, but the one after that. Maybe they actually get into NHL play a little bit sooner than that. And this is where the debate comes in if you are a Jets fan. And the debate is, do you think this team should go into a retool and try to get younger, maybe just retool on the fly here, get back into contention in a few years? Or do you buy into the core that you have now and try to win now, because there's only so much time that you have with the core that you currently have? And just looking at their team currently, and in terms of how much time they have left on their deals, they still have Kyle Connor and Nikolai Ehlers and Adam Lowry, as well as Josh Morrissey, for quite a long time at this point. But looking at some of their older, more veteran players, Blake Wheeler will have 2 years left on his deal once the 2022-23 season starts. Mark Scheifele, same thing. Pierre-Luc Dubois is an RFA with arbitration rights this offseason. Paul Stastny is a UFA. Samford is a UFA. Mason Appleton and Evgeny Svechnikov are all RFAs. Same with Jansen Harkins. And then on the back end, you have Dylan DeMello, who has 2 years left on his deal at the start of the upcoming season here. Same with Brendan Dillon. Neil Pionk will have 3 years left. Nate Schmidt will have 3 years left, and Connor Hellebuck will have 2 years left by the time the 2022-23 season starts. So in reality, when looking at this team, at least with your current core, the time to win is now. You need to buy into this team if you're not trading guys like Scheifele or whoever else. The time to win is now. And this will be a debate for Jets fans for a few months at this point, at least until the draft. It'll be a big thing that this team will need to address at some point this year is, are you going to go into a bit of a retool, maybe take a step back the next couple of seasons and get younger, maybe get some better prospects? Or are you going to buy into the team that you have now and really try to get back into not just playoff contention, but Stanley Cup contention, which has been the goal ever since they made their conference finals run in 2018. And if you're buying in to win over the next couple of seasons, that means you need NHL-ready talent, and you're not going to get that with the 14th overall pick. That pick may have a lot of value, especially with this year being a very deep draft from the looks of it. So if you're buying in and you're trying to win over the next 2 or 3 years, I say you're trading the 14th overall pick. But if you're retooling, obviously you're going to keep that pick and maybe even trade up, maybe give up an asset that you have here currently that may help your team now, but maybe they're an expiring asset in a couple of seasons. Maybe you can use one of those assets along with your 14th overall pick to trade up in the draft. But that's the thing, though. With this pick, with the 14th overall pick, and the lack of direction or the lack of an idea of where this team is going forward, it's difficult to figure out what the Jets will do with this pick. And it'll be a debate, a hotly contested debate, I feel, for the next couple of months here going into the draft, as will pretty much anything Jets related be, because this is the most important offseason in Winnipeg Jets 2.0 history, and Cheveldayoff is on the clock, so he'll have to make a decision with this pick and with the team's future going forward very soon here. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think the Jets should do with the 14th overall pick? Do you think they should trade it to get an NHL-ready asset, or do you think they should keep it, take the pick, and pick up a nice young prospect that they can use to hopefully extend their contention window going forward? And if they keep the pick and they end up making a 14th overall selection, who would you like to see going to the Winnipeg Jets at the 14th overall pick? Do you think it should be Connor Geekie, which is the popular answer, or do you think it should be any of the other 4 names that I listed here that are possibly going to be available for the Jets at 14th overall? Well, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new around here, and I will talk to you in the next video. Peace out.